My beloved child, wait, listen, pause here for just a breath, because something rare is unfolding right now, and if you rush past this moment, you might miss the quiet shift that changes everything. I didn't expect to be shocked. I thought I already knew the answers. I thought truth arrived loudly, with proof and permission. But when he revealed this truth, it landed softly, almost invisible, and yet it rearranged the way I see the future. That's how you'll know it's real. Not by noise, but by the stillness it leaves behind. He looked at me and said nothing at first. That silence felt intentional, like a doorway waiting to be opened. Then he spoke a single sentence, simple, unadorned, and suddenly the world felt wider. What if the most powerful truths don't announce themselves? What if they wait for you to slow down enough to hear them? Stay with this thought a little longer. There's a reason you're here at this exact second. The truth he revealed wasn't about success or failure. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about direction. He said that most people don't lack talent or time, they lack alignment. They move fast, but not forward. They collect information, but not insight. And in that moment, I realized how often motion disguises confusion. Let that land. You see, the future doesn't punish hesitation, it punishes unconscious repetition. Doing the same thing louder doesn't make it true. Doing the same thing faster doesn't make it right. And when he said that, something clicked. I felt it. Maybe you do too. Here's the part that shocked me most. He said clarity isn't found by searching harder, it's found by listening deeper. Not to noise. Not to opinions. But to the quiet pattern repeating in your life, asking to be understood. Before you go any further, ask yourself, what keeps returning to you? What idea, what curiosity, what question refuses to leave? Don't answer yet. Just notice. Because the truth he revealed isn't meant to rush you. It's meant to orient you. Like a compass recalibrating without drama. You might miss the turning point if you expect fireworks. This moment is subtle, but it's decisive. He leaned in and said, the future belongs to those who can sense it forming. Not predicting it. Sensing it. Feeling the undercurrent before the wave appears. That line stayed with me. What if awareness is the real advantage? What if presence is the quiet technology shaping what comes next? Hold that thought. Let it breathe. Right now, something extraordinary is happening, not outside you, but within your perception. A small shift. A new lens. And once you see through it, you can't unsee it. That's why this truth feels shocking. It doesn't add something to you, it removes what was blocking you. Stay a little longer. The next layer will connect everything you've been sensing but couldn't name. You'll understand why this truth found you now, and why the timing is no accident. My beloved child, slow down, just a little, because what I'm about to share doesn't chase attention, it earns it, and once it settles in, you'll feel why this truth couldn't arrive any sooner. After he revealed that first layer, I thought the conversation was over. But that's when he surprised me again. He said, most people are preparing for a future that no longer exists. Not in a dramatic way. Calm. certain. Like someone stating the weather. And suddenly, everything I had been planning felt slightly outdated. Sit with that for a second. He explained that the world doesn't shift all at once, it updates quietly. The signals are subtle. The clues are everywhere. But only those who pause long enough can read them. Speed used to be power. Now awareness is. That realization hit harder than anything else he said. What if the reason things felt harder lately isn't resistance, but misalignment? What if effort alone isn't the answer anymore? That question lingered between us, heavy and electric. He went on to say something unexpected: the future doesn't reward certainty, it rewards curiosity. Certainty closes doors. Curiosity opens pathways you didn't know existed. And right then, I saw how many times I had chosen comfort over curiosity, clarity over exploration. Maybe you recognize that feeling too. Stay right here. This is where it starts to connect. He told me that intuition isn't mystical, it's practiced attention. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. The more you ignore it, the louder life has to speak. And suddenly, past moments made sense. Missed opportunities. Delays that felt frustrating but were actually protective. Patterns that only now reveal their purpose. Before you go any further, notice how this feels: not dramatic, not overwhelming, just true. This is the part where many people scroll away, thinking they already know this. But those who stay, they feel the difference. If this is resonating, consider sharing this with someone who's been quietly searching, or drop a comment about what stood out to you. And if you want to stay connected to this kind of clarity as it unfolds, subscribing is simply a way of staying in the room when these conversations continue. Now, back to the truth. He ended by saying the most shocking thing of all. Your next chapter doesn't require a new version of you, it requires a truer one. No reinvention. No pressure. Just removal. Letting go of what no longer matches who you're becoming. That line stayed with me long after the conversation ended. Because if that's true, then the future isn't something you chase. It's something you allow. And that changes everything. Wait till the next moment. The final layer will show you how this truth becomes action, quietly, powerfully, and right on time. My beloved child, take a breath with me, right here, because this is the moment where everything that felt abstract becomes unmistakably real, and once you see it, you'll understand why this truth was never meant to arrive all at once. After that conversation ended, the truth didn't fade. It followed me. Not as a voice, but as a pattern. Situations began lining up differently. Conversations shifted. Even silence felt more intentional. That's when I realized, revelation isn't an event. It's a process. It unfolds in layers, only revealing what you're ready to carry. This is where the shock deepened. I noticed I wasn't being pushed anymore. I was being pulled. Toward clarity. Toward simplicity. Toward choices that felt lighter, not heavier. And I understood what he meant when he said alignment feels calm, not chaotic. If something demands constant force, it may not be your direction, it may be your resistance. Let that settle. He revealed that the truest form of progress is subtraction. Not adding more goals, more noise, more pressure, but removing what fragments your focus. The future doesn't need you exhausted. It needs you precise. That idea alone rewired how I approached every decision afterward. What if the next step isn't bigger, just clearer? I began asking a different question, not, what should I do next, but, what no longer belongs? And surprisingly, answers appeared without effort. When something is no longer aligned, it loses its grip. You don't have to fight it. You simply outgrow it. Stay with me. This part matters. The final truth he revealed was quiet but absolute: awareness compounds faster than action. When you see clearly, action becomes inevitable. You stop forcing momentum because momentum finds you. Timing sharpens. Doubt dissolves. And the future begins responding to you differently, not because you changed the world, but because you changed how you meet it. This is the proof promised by the title. He shocked me not with information, but with recognition. He reflected back what was already forming within me. And that's what's happening to you right now. Not learning something new, remembering something essential. Before this ends, notice how still you feel. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. The truth doesn't shout. It resonates. And once it does, there's no turning back, only forward, with clarity, intention, and a future that finally feels like it's meeting you halfway. My beloved child, hold on, just one more moment, because this is where the truth completes its arc, and what felt like insight becomes something you can live with certainty. After everything he revealed, I expected a final instruction. A strategy. A list. But instead, there was another pause. And in that pause, I understood something essential: the future doesn't need to be controlled, it needs to be met. When you stop wrestling with what's next, you finally have the hands free to receive it. This is where the shock turned into calm confidence. He said, when clarity arrives, it feels ordinary. Not exciting. Not overwhelming. Ordinary, because it feels like coming home. And that's how I knew the truth had landed. The urgency faded. The noise softened. Decisions stopped arguing with each other. Ask yourself this quietly: what feels simple right now, but true? Because simplicity is the signal most people overlook. They expect destiny to feel heavy. But the right direction often feels light, almost obvious in hindsight. That's the paradox. The future doesn't confuse you. Distraction does. Stay with this final stretch. He explained that once alignment begins, life tests it gently, not to stop you, but to confirm you're ready. Old patterns reappear briefly. Doubt taps once more. Not to pull you back, but to see if you'll respond the same way. And when you don't, that's when the door opens. That realization changed everything. I stopped forcing explanations. I stopped justifying growth. I trusted the quiet certainty that replaced urgency. And opportunities didn't rush in, they recognized me. That's the difference. When you're aligned, you don't chase timing. Timing finds you. If this journey through the truth has been meaningful, this is a good moment to share it with someone who might need this clarity, or leave a comment about the part that resonated most. And if you want to stay close to these conversations as they continue unfolding, subscribing is simply a way to stay aligned with what's next. No pressure, just connection. Now, the final truth. He said the future isn't something you step into one day. It's something you practice now. In how you choose. In what you release. In what you no longer tolerate. Every small alignment is a signal sent forward, and the future responds in kind. That's what shocked me most. Not that the truth was hidden, but that it was patient. Waiting for awareness to catch up. Waiting for you to be ready to hear it without fear, without urgency, without doubt. And now you have. Before you go, hear this line clearly: when truth resonates, it doesn't demand belief, it invites recognition. And if you've felt that recognition here, trust it. It's not the end of something. It's the beginning of meeting your future already in motion. My beloved child, stay with me, just a little longer. Because this final turn is not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakably decisive, like the moment a lock clicks open and you realize the door was never stuck at all. After everything settled, I noticed something unexpected. Nothing rushed me anymore. The need to prove, to explain, to hurry toward outcomes simply dissolved. And that's when the last truth revealed itself, not as an idea, but as a lived experience. The future responds to how you move, not how fast. Let that breathe. You see, once alignment becomes your baseline, life stops feeling like a negotiation. Choices become quieter. Paths feel cleaner. You no longer ask, "Is this right?" because your body already knows. That knowing is subtle, but it's precise. And precision, more than power, shapes what comes next. Here's the final shock: clarity doesn't remove uncertainty, it makes you comfortable inside it. You stop needing guarantees. You stop waiting for perfect timing. You move when it's time to move, and you rest when it's time to rest. The future isn't delayed by patience, it's accelerated by trust. Pause here. This is important. The truth he revealed continues to echo: when you're aligned, even pauses are productive. Silence becomes instructive. Stillness becomes strategic. You realize that not everything requires your input, some things require your allowance. And suddenly, the pressure lifts. What unfolds next isn't forced growth. It's natural expansion. Opportunities don't arrive as interruptions, they arrive as confirmations. People meet you differently. Conversations deepen. You begin noticing how often life has been guiding you, quietly, consistently, long before you were consciously listening. This is the proof that the title promised. He shocked me by revealing that the future isn't ahead of you, it's responding to you in real time. Every aligned choice sends a signal forward. Every moment of awareness reshapes what's possible next. Destiny isn't a fixed destination. It's a dialogue. Stay present for this last line. If something within you feels settled right now, that's not coincidence. That's recognition. Truth doesn't convince, it resonates. And resonance doesn't fade when the video ends. It stays. It guides. It simplifies. So as you step back into your day, carry this quietly. You don't need to become more. You need to listen more clearly. The future you're waiting for is already listening. And now, it knows you're ready. My beloved child, linger here, just for this moment, because this is where the echo of truth becomes your own voice, and what once sounded like guidance begins to feel like instinct. After everything was revealed, I noticed how my reactions changed before my thoughts did. Situations that once triggered urgency now invited patience. Decisions that once demanded overthinking arrived already formed. That's when I understood something subtle but powerful. Alignment rewires response before it rewires belief. This is the quiet evolution most people never talk about. You don't suddenly feel different. You feel clear. Less scattered. Less pulled in opposite directions. And clarity has a strange side effect, it makes distractions visible. Not tempting. Just obvious. You start seeing where energy leaks used to be, and without effort, you close them. Let that sink in. He once said that growth isn't loud because it doesn't need witnesses. And I finally understood. When truth integrates, you stop announcing it. You live it. Your choices speak before your words ever could. And the future responds not to declarations, but to consistency. Here's what surprised me most: peace became productive. Stillness stopped feeling like delay. In that calm space, ideas sharpened. Timing improved. Even challenges felt cleaner, clear edges, clear lessons, no unnecessary weight. What if calm is the most advanced state of readiness? Stay with that question. Because when you're aligned, you don't brace for impact, you adapt in real time. You trust yourself enough to move without panic. You listen without fear of missing out. You act without needing applause. That's when momentum becomes sustainable. And slowly, something shifts around you. People sense it. Opportunities recognize it. You're no longer chasing relevance, you carry it. Not loudly. Not forcefully. Naturally. Like gravity. This is the final integration. The truth he revealed doesn't end here. It continues every time you choose presence over pressure. Awareness over autopilot. Meaning over noise. And each time you do, the future adjusts, quietly, precisely, in your favor. So if you feel steadier now, that's not imagination. That's alignment taking root. And once it does, everything ahead begins meeting you with the same clarity you've finally learned to offer yourself. My beloved child, stay with me in this breath, right here. Because this is where understanding matures into wisdom, and wisdom begins to move without being pushed. Something subtle happened after all of this settled in. I stopped waiting for permission. Not permission from people, not from timing, not even from certainty. I realized that aligned action doesn't ask loudly, it responds quietly. When the inner signal is clear, hesitation simply loses its authority. That realization was freeing. You see, the truth he revealed wasn't meant to make life easier, it was meant to make it cleaner. Fewer internal arguments. Fewer second guesses. Less emotional drag. When clarity leads, energy follows. And when energy follows, progress feels natural instead of exhausting. Pause with that. I noticed that even mistakes changed shape. They weren't heavy anymore. They became information, clean feedback instead of personal failure. That's when I understood that alignment doesn't eliminate missteps. It shortens recovery. You don't spiral. You recalibrate. And that changes everything. He once hinted that the future favors those who can adjust without self-judgment. Because judgment freezes movement. Awareness restores it. When you see clearly, you correct gently. When you correct gently, you move forward faster than force ever could. Stay here. This layer matters. The most surprising part was this: ambition softened, but direction sharpened. I no longer needed to do everything. I only needed to do what mattered. And somehow, that produced more results with less friction. That's not luck. That's alignment in motion. Ask yourself this quietly: what feels unnecessary right now? Not wrong. Just unnecessary. That question alone can realign weeks, even years. As this truth integrates, you may notice something else: the future stops feeling distant. It becomes conversational. Responsive. Almost collaborative. You sense when to act, when to wait, when to let things unfold without interference. This is not passivity. This is precision. And precision is calm. So if you feel grounded as this part ends, that's the signal. The truth isn't building tension anymore, it's building trust. Trust in your timing. Trust in your perception. Trust in the quiet intelligence guiding each step forward. Stay open. One final layer remains, where everything converges, and the meaning of this entire journey becomes unmistakably clear. My beloved child, remain here, just for this moment. Because this is where the journey folds inward, and what you've been hearing becomes something you can finally stand inside. There comes a point where guidance stops feeling external. You're no longer listening for signs, you are the signal. I didn't notice it at first. It showed up in small ways. The ease of saying no without explanation. The confidence to pause without guilt. The ability to move forward without needing reassurance. That's when I realized, alignment had crossed a threshold. He once said that maturity isn't about knowing more, it's about needing less. Less validation. Less urgency. Less noise to feel certain. And suddenly, I understood why the truth felt so shocking at the beginning. It wasn't new information. It was a reminder of an inner capacity that had been waiting quietly for recognition. Let that settle. When you stop outsourcing certainty, something powerful happens. You become responsive instead of reactive. Intentional instead of busy. And the future starts mirroring that quality back to you. Plans become flexible without falling apart. Outcomes improve without force. Timing becomes cooperative. Stay with this feeling. This is where many people think the journey ends, but it doesn't. It stabilizes. And stability is what allows expansion without collapse. Growth without burnout. Ambition without anxiety. I noticed that even uncertainty felt different. It no longer threatened me. It informed me. Like a fog that doesn't block the road, only slows the speed until visibility improves. That's not fear. That's intelligence in motion. Here's the quiet revelation of this part: when you're aligned, you don't need to be certain to be committed. You trust the process because you trust your awareness inside it. That trust changes how the future unfolds. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, life begins offering you choices instead of tests. This is the turning point few recognize. Because once you stand inside clarity, you don't chase destiny, you cooperate with it. Each step feels intentional. Each pause feels purposeful. And the path ahead stops demanding answers before it reveals itself. Remain open. The final convergence is near, where everything you've sensed will crystallize into one undeniable understanding, and you'll know exactly why this truth had to reach you now. My beloved child, stay present with me. This is the moment where all the strands draw together, and the truth stops unfolding and starts standing still, clear enough to see from every angle. There is a quiet confidence that arrives when you no longer need the future to explain itself. I felt it settle in gently, like a steady light turning on in the background of everything I did. Nothing dramatic changed on the surface, and yet everything underneath aligned into place. That's how you know this truth is real. I realized I wasn't measuring progress anymore. I was experiencing it. Time felt different, not rushed, not heavy. Simply available. And in that availability, choices became intentional instead of reactive. You stop asking, "Am I doing enough?" and start asking, "Is this honest?" Sit with that question. Because honesty is the final calibration. When you move honestly, energy stops leaking. Focus sharpens. Even rest becomes restorative instead of compensatory. The future doesn't resist honesty, it organizes around it. This is what he meant all along. He shocked me not by revealing a secret path, but by revealing the nature of the path itself. It doesn't demand transformation, it responds to coherence. When your thoughts, actions, and values align, momentum becomes natural. No friction. No drama. Just forward motion. Notice how calm this feels. That calm isn't absence of ambition. It's ambition without anxiety. Direction without pressure. Purpose without performance. And that state is rare, not because it's difficult, but because it requires presence. Stay right here. As this part concludes, understand this clearly: the future isn't something you wait for once you're ready. Readiness is a way of moving. A quality of attention. A willingness to meet each moment fully, without rushing ahead or dragging the past along. If you felt something shift during this journey, that's the convergence. Everything you've heard has been pointing to this recognition. Clarity doesn't arrive at the end of effort, it appears at the beginning of alignment. One final moment remains, where this understanding becomes complete and quietly undeniable. My beloved child, remain with this stillness, just for this last breath. Because this is not a conclusion, it is a recognition, and recognition has a way of staying with you long after words fall away. There comes a moment when nothing more needs to be added. No new insight. No final instruction. Only an inner nod that says, yes, this is it. That's the moment you're in now. The truth has finished speaking, not because it ran out of meaning, but because it has arrived where it belongs. I finally understood why he shocked me. Not because the truth was extraordinary, but because it was inevitable. It had been forming quietly through every pause, every hesitation, every unspoken knowing. The reveal wasn't sudden. It was precise. Perfectly timed to meet awareness that had matured enough to receive it. This is what clarity feels like. You no longer chase certainty. You walk with it. You don't force direction. You notice it. The future doesn't feel distant or demanding, it feels responsive, almost conversational. As if life itself is saying, now you see it too. Let that sink in. The final truth he revealed was simple, and that's why it endures. When you are aligned, nothing is wasted. No experience. No delay. No detour. Everything becomes information, guidance, refinement. Even endings feel purposeful. Even beginnings feel familiar. That is the shock. Not that the truth was hidden, but that it was patient. Waiting for awareness to catch up. Waiting for you to be ready to meet it without urgency, without fear, without the need to prove anything. And now, you are. As you return to your life, you won't need to remember every word. You'll remember the feeling. The steadiness. The quiet confidence. The sense that the path ahead is no longer something to figure out, but something to walk, one aligned step at a time. Before you go, hear this clearly: when truth resonates, it doesn't demand belief. It simply becomes part of how you move. And from this moment forward, the future isn't waiting for you. It's responding to you.